Hi, and welcome to my podcast, Pregnant in Japan, your podcast about pregnancy, birth, and the joy of a relaxed motherhood in Japan. My name is Vicky. I'm a German mom living in Tokyo. I'm sharing my positive birth experience to inspire you with yours.
Today we have Dzhiga. Dzhiga is originally from Russia, and she is a clothes designer and lives in Tokyo since 2 years. She gave birth to her daughter Diana in autumn 2020, so last year, at the University of Tokyo Hospital near Ueno Park. And today she's going to share her experience with us. So Dzhiga, welcome to the Pregnant in Japan podcast.
Yeah, hi everybody. Thank you for invitation, Vicky.
Thank you for being here. Dzhiga, at the beginning, usually I ask unconventional questions, but I learned that you are from Kalmykia, which is a region located in the southern part of Russia, near the Caspian Sea, and I have never heard about this before, so now I would just love to hear a little bit of who are the Kalmyks.
Okay, the Kalmyks are Mongolian subgroup in Russia, and we are only Buddhists who are located in Europe. Our ancestors relocated from Mongolia more than 400 years ago. We have our own language, and our documents, such as birth certificate, are bilingual, Kalmyks and Russian.
Wow, it's so fascinating. So it's in the middle of Russia, and they have their own traits and own history and even own language. Thank you for sharing that. Very interesting. But now back to I wanted to say our birth story, but it's your birth story. So you picked the University of Tokyo Hospital. And for me, when I hear that, it doesn't seem like the first address to pick for foreigners to give birth here in Tokyo. So can you tell us a little bit, what are the reasons you picked that hospital, what was important for you, and what is so special about this hospital?
Okay, so it was a recommendation from my doctor from Aiiku hospital to make an infertility check. Because I had miscarriage before. So we went there, and fortunately the test showed I'm healthy. Yay.
Good.
And after getting pregnant, we decided to make pregnancy checkups and giving a birth there, because they're English-speaking doctors. They have a good NICU department, and it's university.
Yes, on university, a lot of departments and always being big. Just for the listeners who haven't heard about NICU, NICU is an abbreviation for neonatal intensive care unit, in case there is a problem after giving birth or they take care of a baby. Okay, so you were at this university hospital, and such things like epidural or waterbirth, did they speak all English, or do you maybe speak some Japanese?
So some doctors and some staff can speak English, and I don't really speak Japanese, just basic phrases. They have epidural, but it's scheduled, and no waterbirth, unfortunately.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's so interesting about the scheduled epidural, because so you can actually have an epidural, which yes, I actually learned it here in Japan for the first time, that not all hospitals offer epidural. But you can have one, but then it's scheduled, so it means you have to be induced, and your baby has to come at a certain time, right?
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's why I didn't choose epidural.
Yes, I completely understand. It's something to think about if you really want your baby to be induced, or your labor, not your baby, sorry. And was that hospital far away from your house? How did you get there? Did you need to book in early to give birth there, or did you feel, because you usually read you have to book a facility as soon as you get pregnant? What is your experience with this hospital?
So the hospital is quite far from my house. It's around 50 minutes by subway and 30 minutes by car. We booked the facility only after 22nd weeks of pregnancy. So there is no rush.
Okay. That's good. No rush in this hospital. And how is it? Did you, before you registered there, could you visit the facility?
Unfortunately, no. And I don't know, this is due to COVID-19 or not.
Yeah, maybe. It's good to double check.
Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about your regular checkups at the university hospital. Was it with the different doctors or always the same doctors? How did you feel overall there, the atmosphere, when you had your checkups?
There are always different doctors every time. And how I said both, only some doctors can speak English, and you don't know who is your next doctor will be, and can he speak English or not. And there's long waiting, even if you booked exact time.
Yeah. So I experience actually also a lot in some hospitals, and that you always, even if you have an appointment, you have to wait a very long time. And I heard it also from other girls here. It must be something common to have a long waiting time here. But then I thought, when waiting so long, you can use this time for, I don't know, reading a good book or do some visualization or breathing or whatever to prepare for birth.
Yeah.
Okay. And could you ask, because you say some doctors spoke English, some didn't, but did you feel like you could ask them questions if you had some concerns, or how did they handle? Oh, I don't know. Maybe you didn't have questions.
Of course, I had. Yeah. I got the impression that due to to the language barrier, they did not talk in detail about my condition or about my test results or something like that. So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But I guess if there would be a problem, or if there was a problem, they would probably somehow communicate with you.
Yeah. They just said me like this one is okay. Okay. You're healthy. Okay.
Déjà vu.
Don't worry. Or don't worry.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay, don't worry sounds good.
Yeah.
Could you also discuss with the staff or with the doctor maybe a birth plan, or how you wanted to have your birth?
Yes, after booking the facility, they give you a book where some information about delivery, what to bring when labor will come, what to buy for baby, such as clothes and something like that, birth plan and price, and lots more information.
Okay, seems like they gave you all they had, all the information. That's nice.
Yeah, and I should mention the book only in Japanese.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Okay. Or did you use the Google Translate app?
I
Or
used Google Translator. I used my friends who can speak Japanese.
yeah, there's always a way, yeah?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, now I'm curious about the process of giving birth. Tell us about your labor. When did it start? When did you go to the hospital?
Okay, so my labor started at 4 a.m., 21st of September, and until 9 p.m., I had irregular contractions. So I thought it's just, how to say, trainer labor? Not a real train.
Yeah, Brixton Hicks?
Yeah, not real.
Brixton Hicks, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not real contraction.
But at 9:30, mucus plaque came out. So yeah, I thought so maybe it's real. We called to the hospital. They said to come, and we called to taxi. In August, I booked a labor taxi in Nihon Kotsu. If you heard about that.
And there are a couple ones, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and every time I talk with other ladies, everybody booked this service, and I think it's so great, and it should exist in other
it's
countries
really
too.
great, yeah.
They come quite quick, right? When did they get to your house, and how was the ride for you?
Yeah, the taxi arrived in 10 minutes after calling. It's really convenient. You no need to say your address and where you should go. They already know that. So the ride was so good, no traffic. So in 30 minutes we were in the hospital.
Oh, quick. That's good. No traffic jam.
Yeah.
And so once you got to the hospital, did they make you walk, or did you want to walk around freely, or did you take the position you wanted? And were you in a separate room, and what happened then?
Okay. I was in labor around 6 hours. After arriving, a midwife made a checkup and said I was 6 centimeters dilated. So they prepared a delivery room for me, and during 50 minutes, they checked baby's heartbeat. So I should lay on the back. After the checking, I could walk around freely, but I didn't want. I just wanted to change position. But after changing baby's heartbeat showed that she gets less oxygen. So midwife said I should lay and only on the back, only this position. And you said about how many rooms, right? I saw 3 labor rooms, but maybe they had more. I was only in giving birth room.
So you were alone, yes, in this room.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. Wow. So you were pretty 6 centimeter dilated is pretty fast, right? Or pretty advanced, I would say.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, wow. Good.
I was surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. So you did some work at home already.
Yeah.
And was your husband with you? Or were husbands also allowed to stay overnight?
During the labor, he stayed with me, right? But before they said me he can't stay because of COVID-19, but I was 6 centimeters dilated, so they said you can stay.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, we were so happy.
Yes, nice that he could stay. That they allowed it. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so your baby was born after, you said how many hours? 6? No? When was your baby born?
In the morning, 10:15.
So after
a.m.
6 hours, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. Wow. So once Diana was born, did they allow you to keep her, or could you breastfeed directly? Did they help you with breastfeeding? What was the process after she was born?
Kangaroo care and breastfeeding were in my birth plan, but they allowed me to do that only after 1 hour after baby was born. And also, you asked me about help
Yeah, if they helped
help
you.
me with breastfeeding. Yes, they helped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes, or even actually, I hear it a lot. And for me, it was the same. It's not always obvious for breastfeeding, especially first-time moms. Mostly, it's like something new and some can be challenging. So it's nice that they helped.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they first took Diana for 1 hour, and then they gave her back to you, let's say.
Yeah. So she was born, and they checked her. And wore clothes,
Yes.
and then not really give me, just showed me her, and I
Okay.
just could touch her. Yeah.
Okay.
Then they put her to another room for other check. My husband was with her.
Okay. Great. And how long did you stay then in the hospital? The following days, how was the care you received? Could you be in the same room as your baby? Could you be together?
Yeah. So we stayed in the hospital 5 days, and I can say it was excellent care. They helped me with everything, especially one midwife who speaks English very well, and she was my midwife during childbirth. Sometimes she was working in the nursery room, and I could ask all questions to her. And she wrote me a letter where she says I inspired her to learn even more English to help such a brave foreign woman who give birth in another country like me.
That's
So
heartbreaking.
yeah, I'm happy to do some small contribution to making it easier for foreign women to give birth in Japan. Yeah, it was so cute. Yeah.
It's so cute that she wrote you
And
a
also,
letter.
Diana were always with me except first night.
Okay. And I'm still hard touched by your story with a midwife who wrote you a
Yeah.
letter. But it is, she's right. It is quite brave what we are doing here, and mostly just not speaking the language or just some
But
bits and bytes of English. Oh, sorry,
that's
Japanese.
all for our babies.
All for our babies, yes. Um, okay. Could you also give us some general information about the visiting? Because with this episode, I would like to inform other pregnant women about this hospital you were in. So maybe what were the visiting hours at this hospital? Your husband could visit you, you said. And how was it for food, or how much did you pay? Also
Okay.
important questions.
Yeah. No. Any visiting due to Corona, so he couldn't visit us. And if natural delivery, you stay 5 days. If C-section, 7 days. How I know? The food was so good. So good. After coming back to home, I was missing the food so much.
So funny. I felt exactly the
Yeah.
same way when I came home.
And about price, right? Total amount were around 550,000 yen, and plus 420,000 I'd say Japanese government pays.
Okay. So actually, compared to other hospitals, it wasn't that bad, right?
Yeah.
The price was okay.
Mm.
Okay, good so far. And your experience, well, of course, you are a first-time mom, so you didn't give birth yet in Russia, but
Yeah.
do you know some other experience from your friends in Russia? What's like the difference that you notice from Japan and Russia?
Mhm. So how I heard about different experiences, but what I can say with confidence, in Japan, the hospital staff is much more nice and caring.
They are quite strict, aren't they, in Russia? Huh? In Russian
Yeah,
hospitals?
yeah. Sorry, Russian staff, but yeah, they are quite strict.
Yeah. Okay. Now before we come slowly to an end, I would like to ask you, what was the hardest part for you during pregnancy and labor then? And what would you recommend to other pregnant women or other women that are now pregnant in Japan?
Um, During pregnancy, I would say the hardest part was first trimester. I was much less active, always wanted to sleep, and didn't really want to eat. But it was on the first trimester, how I said. And during labor, uh, language barrier. It took time to understand each other, and how during giving a birth, seconds are important. Yeah. Advice: study Japanese, some basic vocabulary. It will be easier to stay in a hospital even if they can speak English. Yeah, but because usually not all the staff can speak English.
Yes. So you somehow manage anyways to communicate with the staff in English, a little bit Japanese maybe, or gesture.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, congratulations. You managed everything very good, I think. It sounds
Really?
like you had it sounds like you had a good experience at this hospital, right? It was a good experience. Are you
Yeah, I
happy
would
with
say,
your choice?
yeah, it was a good experience.
Would you go there for a second baby?
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. Okay. Maybe last question. Could you recommend this hospital for other pregnant women?
I would recommend the hospital for those who have an, how to say, a bit difficult pregnancy. If they have some problem, because they're professors, they will help you, I think.
Yeah, a lot of professors and a lot of experienced professors also probably.
Yeah.
Okay, Dzhiga, thank you so much for sharing this, for your time, and
Thank you
all your
for
information.
invitation.
I'm so happy.
Yeah, I'm glad to share my story.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time. I know it's not always obvious when having a baby to somehow do it and think a little bit about the questions, and yeah, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So I talk to you soon.